1.7 billion were there for his birth. 220 countries tuned in for his first step. The world stood still for that stolen kiss. And as he grew so into technology, an entire human life recorded on an intricate network of hidden cameras and broadcast live and unedited 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to an audience around the globe. In the largest studio ever constructed, and along with the Great Wall of China, one of only 2 man-made structures visible from space. Now, in its 30th great year, it's the Truman Show!
Truman Burbank is the star of a reality TV show that has detailed every second of his life since birth. There are many parallels of Truman's journey to uncover the truth to the biblical story of Moses in the book of Exodus. Truman is Moses, and the creator of the show, Christoph, is God, hence his name. Like Moses, Truman is given away at birth and later becomes the hero that everybody knows.
When there's nowhere else to run, is there room for one more son? One more son. If you can hold on, if you can hold on, hold on.
God is depicted as imperfect and lust for glory in both stories. God uses his hero to his own advantage so that he can benefit himself. The God of Moses wants a resounding victory for his people, the Israelites, after years of strife and oppression from the Egyptians, and he will do whatever it takes to extreme measures. As for Christoph, he seeks material gain, including profit, higher ratings, establishing his reputation, and the overall betterment of his ideal world. Truman's name, Truman, gives the perception that he is making his own choices, but in actuality, he is being manipulated by his creator. He is only as real as the world around him makes him. Similarly, the actions of Moses are not his own, for he is only executing what God tells him. Both characters do not truly have free will. In both stories, theophany is used to portray God through fire, thunder, lightning, and wind. Christoph, like God, has the ability to control the weather in the dome of Sea Haven. Water is also very symbolic in both settings. Initially, it is viewed as a hindrance, but both are eventually able to conquer it. The Red Sea was standing in the way of Moses and the Israelites when the Egyptians were chasing them, but God commanded Moses to raise his staff and part the sea, the waters forming walls as a passage. The sea also forms a wall in Truman's world, for the barrier of the dome is the sea itself. Truman has long had a fear of water ever since his father died while sailing, but is able to overcome his phobia to escape his will with the goal of reaching the island of Fiji, which would be the equivalent to the Promised Land, like Israel for the Israelites. However, both Promised Lands don't actually exist and are rather ideal places. Fiji was merely made up in the Truman Show as an excuse and cover-up to boot an unplanned love interest off.
Get out of here.
Don't worry, we're going to Fiji.
Although God promised the Israelites their own land, there were many different people occupying it at the time, such as the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. It really was not their land, so to speak, at that time. In fact, Israel wasn't established until 1947. It is also interesting to note that the name of Truman's sailboat is Santa Maria, which is a reference to one of Columbus's ships. Columbus himself credited the Moses story as inspiration for his voyage to the New World in his journal.
Truman, you can speak. I can hear you. Who are you? I am the creator of a television show that gives hope and joy and inspiration to millions. Then who am I?
You're the star.
Was nothing real?
You were real. That's what made you so good to watch. Listen to me, Truman. There's no more truth out there than there is in the world I created for you. Same lies. The same deceit. But in my world, you have nothing to fear. I know you better than you know yourself.
Never had a camera in my head.
You're afraid. That's why you can't leave. It's okay, Truman. I understand. I have been watching you your whole life. You can't leave, Truman.
Please, God.
You belong here
You can do it.
with me. Talk to me. Say something. Say something, goddammit! You're on television! You're live to the whole world!
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yeah.
While there are many similarities between the Truman Show and the Moses story, there are also notable differences. Firstly, Moses' journey is all about leaving Egypt and liberating the Israelites. However, Kristoff desperately wants Truman to stay in the world he has created. He manufactures ways to keep Truman stranded on Sea Haven, such as creating the storyline of his father's death to traumatize young Truman to be afraid of the sea and beyond. Traffic moves, according to Truman, to hinder any attempt at escape. Also, there is quite a difference in the control God has. Moses is reluctant to obey God, but he is definitely aware of what God is asking of him. On the other hand, Truman has absolutely no idea that his world is not real until he sees the light, literally, for a lamp falls out of the sky on accident. Thus, his world begins to crash down in the string of events that follow. In addition, Moses may have questioned God, but he did not resist. Truman completely rebelled against Kristoff, choosing to leave his fake world for reality, no matter how harsh it is. When Truman tricks Kristoff and the rest of his audience into believing he is sound asleep so that he can escape, his actions truly become his own. He is broken free of his chains. A recurring action in Exodus is God hardening the Pharaoh's heart. In the Truman Show, it can be said that Kristoff is hardening his own heart by dictating Truman's life for him, synthetically creating emotion for viewing pleasure. He doesn't even care if Truman dies in the process.
We can't let him die in front of a live audience. He was born in front of a live audience.
In the end, the stories come to different conclusions. Although the oppressed have now become liberated and free, God's final stance is different. At the end of Exodus, God triumphs as his people continue on their journey to the Promised Land. In contrast, the Truman Show finally ends its 30-year run with Kristoff left dejected to see the fall of his most prized creation.
I did my best to notice when the call came down the line, up to the platform of surrender. I was brought, but I was kind. And sometimes I get nervous when I see an open door. Close your eyes, clear your heart, cut the cord. Are we human, or are we dancer? My sign is vital, my hands are cold. for the answer. Are we human, or are we dancer?
A disclaimer in evaluating this film in terms of accuracy of depiction of the Moses story is that it was not meant to be a Moses interpretation. Crucial parts were left out, including the plagues of Egypt and the Ten Commandments, as well as many occurrings in between which do make quite a difference. With that put aside in consideration, the film does hit the right notes in certain places. The overarching themes are indeed liberation and discovering oneself's true identity. Moses declared himself, "I have been an alien residing in a foreign land," which relates to Truman Show in that Sea Haven is cut off from the rest of the world, and he is singled out as the alien, the one special townsperson that everything revolves around, and yet he has only now realized after 30 years. It also reaches down beneath the surface story of Moses that most people think they know, and reveals God's true colors and his often ruthless behavior to achieve his ends. Human characters in the Bible and the Truman Show may appear to be making their own decisions, but God is really the one at the controls. Indeed, the storyline of the Truman Show does appear to be the complete opposite of the Moses story. Truman must free himself against his creator's wishes, while God does a lot of convincing for Moses to liberate the Israelites. Nevertheless, the parallel does work. The integrity of the Moses story is preserved, and The Truman Show is a truly motivating and profound film that satirizes, and in doing so criticizes, the falseness behind reality TV that is omnipresent in society today.